Go on then, Daniel. Bring in the goods. What have we got here?
The D-Rob Sig deck.
Here's one. Here's one he's prepared earlier.
Fucking buzz. I got a little bit of bread on that.
Oh, isn't that meant to be the one that stays in mint condition? Not gets breaded.
Well, there's 4 more upstairs because of Dean.
You got loads?
Yeah. Big up Dean. Love you lots.
I only got a
how
couple.
you make me a very happy guy, by the way. But can I put this somewhere else now?
Yeah. We don't need it all the time. I just thought we'd show one we'd made earlier. That's all. There we go. Yeah, he's got his money shot. Job done.
Yeah, no, he sent me a fat package, and that will see me through for a very long time.
And today's episode, we're going to discuss the signature deck process.
Sick.
I've also had the fortune of being offered a sig deck by a brand that I'm in love with. Yep. And you've obviously done the same, because there it is. A little beautiful thing just come out
Buzzing.
A couple of months ago.
Dream complete.
But I've also had the experience the past couple of years as being the guy that sorts out sig decks for other people. So I know a bit about behind the scenes as well. And I think between us we can shed quite a lot of light on the actual what it really takes to get a sig deck. And also just in general how sick signature parts actually are.
The best thing. Yeah,
and
I'm keen.
Also, I want to kind of compare the two processes between District and Flavour as well. Because I don't really know your process with it anyway. So it came out September this year or something.
It did, yeah.
Did it? And so when were you first offered it?
It was one of them things that I think was Dean always wanted to happen for the team. We had spoken about it on various occasions, and I've actually been on Flavour for over 5 years anyway. And some of the riders like Boris as well, they've been on for years. So Dean always wanted to make it happen. But from the actual process of designing to production, it was probably like maybe just over like 12 months of seeing the actual physical complete side, because we had prototypes before without any of the graphics.
For the actual decks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, once the mold has been set up and stuff like
Yeah.
that, we all received the prototypes. They all rode pretty solid. The feedback was pretty good from, I think, everyone. And then from actual design to final production was probably a little less time than that. But
so from the very first conversation about Danny, we want to give you a sig deck. From that point, not designing it, but from that point.
So, okay, that would have been longer. Maybe like 18 months to like...
And how did it happen? Did he ring you? Did you get an email? Did you all get an email together?
Yeah, so Dean is like an uncle to me, and I'm sure most of the like the Flavour boys, because we're like a family. But yeah, we're in a big group chat just to stay in touch with everyone, and basically pinged off the idea. We're all buzzing about it. At this point, I think the only sig parts that existed were from Boris, like the animal with the fork and bars. So he knew that he wanted to make the decks happen. We were all obviously super hyped with that, because for me, I think for everyone, deck is the one sig part that everyone's after, like that everyone wants. And yeah, he basically said, right, this is the sitch, like ping off some of the dimensions and sizes that you boys would be after. And then we all just clashed heads and agreed on the sort of dimensions we wanted to go for, which left us with the 2 widths eventually. And then we all just chose what lengths we were after. And yeah, from then onwards, it was one of them situations where everyone probably put their heads down, started thinking of ideas, designing stuff. We were sending ideas to Dean to let us know what his like thoughts were. And yeah, you know what it's like behind the scenes. Like, it's never the quickest process, because you have a lot of work to go through, especially.
It's really long, isn't it? And
yeah.
It's before you got a sig deck, I'm sure you thought the same thing. Because before I got offered one, you'd see one come out and you'd be like, you just kind of assumed it was like an instantaneous process. Like, it's coming out next month. Here's a graphic which you're going to print on decks that exist, and here you go. Yeah. But for mine, I got first offered it, I believe. I got a phone call from the then manager of District, Pierre. I think it was April or March 2016, because I was doing, I think it was my first ever Winging It series, actually. I was away in Croatia, I think in a place called Osijek or something, and I got a phone call from Pierre saying about sig decks. And obviously I was fucking buzzing. Yeah, of course. But then, maybe because District had a pretty rocky time that year anyway, with the changing over and everything. But that was when it was offered to me, so I was buzzing. And it actually came out in like December 2017. So again, it was like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But I've I never really considered it was going to be a possibility, so I didn't have anything in the works. But as soon as I got offered it, I was like, right, I know what I'm going to put on this deck. And I worked with a local guy from GY, who's a sick artist. He's like a tattoo drawer almost, like a style called Daniel Baker, and literally just had loads of things that I wanted to put on it. I didn't really want a nice look like yours. I think our two graphics are such different approaches. I just almost wanted it like, almost if I was going to get covered in tattoos, what things I would cover myself with. Union logo, stuff like FBGM for which you get money.
How did you find designing that? Because obviously it's completely different to like what a tattoo sort of design would be. But
it was sick actually, because I didn't really know him personally. I was always interacting with him on Instagram and stuff. And so I messaged him like, oh, so I want to do a graphic. Do you want to help me do it? Obviously I'll pay you for it. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, I sat down with him at this cafe, and I was like, so here's what I want. I want my face on a £1 million note. I need a skeleton in a town shirt with a Union crown and an England flag and a cup of tea.
I bet he's like, what the fuck am I designing?
And I was there like, oh no, this is going to sound so whack. And you know what? He fucking nailed it. Like,
first tea as well, wasn't it? Almost
first tea. Yeah. So he made it first, and then the second time we met, we narrowed it down to like the size of the actual deck, so the scale of the graphic itself, so it fit on the deck. And yeah, to be honest, it was 2 or 3 meetings. Paid him myself.
That's fair play.
To be honest, he asked for less, but I was like, you know what, you nailed that, and this is such an important thing.
Oh, that's sick.
I'd need this to be perfect, and you fucking killed it.
What a guy. And over that period of time, like for me this happened, but because of the length that it was taken to actually see the final product, did you change any of the dimensions at all? Because I did. I went from 5.2 to 5.5.
So I'm assuming Flavour said we're going to make 2 widths, 5.2, 5.5.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Yeah.
Well, with District ones, by that point in 2016, I was already really involved anyway I was only a rider, I was a pro rider, but I was also really involved with other stuff because Pierre was almost like mentoring me a bit, which is maybe why I ended up being okay for the position that I'm in now as a manager, because Pierre was always like, oh, so can you do this, and give me like other little jobs to do. And so one of them was like, we had to pick what sizes we wanted as a thing. So it was almost like, all right, so because Tommy Cristiano was offered one, but then he left before they came out anyway, for example. So it was like me, Tommy, Rich, Chris Farris, Cam. It was kind of like, right, so, and Cody obviously. Right, so what size SIG deck do you want? From the outset, it's completely blank canvas basically. And everyone said, all right, I want it. Everyone chose the same width, just kind of as a coincidence. And the different lengths, obviously, like the Flavour. And so District made all the decks coming out based on the dimensions that riders wanted. They didn't say, all right, we're going to bring out these HT decks, put your graphic on them. They said, right, what sizes do you want? Because we're going to make these HT decks in general and have a few signature ones.
Okay.
So we basically, everyone was choosing the same width, like I said, and everyone else wanted like 21.25 decks. And I knew at that point the District needed a longer one. I didn't even ride a longer deck at the time. I was quite happy with 20.5 or something.
Yeah.
But I was quite surprised that no one like Chris or anybody or Tommy picked a longer deck than 21.25. And I was like, well, we need a longer one, so I'll just pick the longest one.
Yeah, because I remember when obviously you told me about that. I was like, what?
22.4.
Yeah.
And I'd gone from a Brandon deck, which must have been 20.9 or 21 or something at the time. Wasn't that long. But yeah, I basically chose that size because it was the one that was missed in the range of District decks.
Yeah,
if that
so
makes
it's
sense.
just a smart thing to do.
Yeah. But yeah, it was like a year and a half from proposal to coming out.
Yeah, so similar. That's what I mean, because obviously I did have 5.2 initially, and then with how quick everything changes and whatnot. And then even for me personally, I went on a 5.5 prototype that Dean had sent, but because it was 23 long, I couldn't obviously adjust to it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, nah, I think 5.2 sound. And then as like time progressed and whatnot, I was like, nah, if I'm going to do this now, like I've chose comfort over tricks for so long, like, I may as well go with a 5.5. And
yeah, that's another thing though, isn't it? Because because of the time it takes for it to come out, your preferences have changed as well as the whole like the whole climate of the scooter market with deck sizes. So when you first got asked 5.2 sick, by the time it comes out, you're like, actually 5.5 because I'm bigger now. I've been gym a few times. I'm wedge.
Yeah, man, I've been training my feet. They've grown like 3 sizes.
Yeah, I've got muscly feet, so I need a bigger deck. But that's not to consider as well. And that's another thing. So, like, obviously I didn't know at the time it was going to take a year and a half. But again, no one else chose a longer one. I like the way District did it because I know there's a lot of companies out there in the past that have just gone, here's a deck, here's the graphic, do you want it? And they've gone, yep, and that's it. But they kind of let us design the whole range. Rather than making the HG decks and then making a signature version, they kind of made the SIG decks and then made the normal versions of the decks as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's how it should be.
But obviously, after I did get it and I got used to the size, but like at first I don't even think it was a preference thing. Like I said, it was just, I need to fill this gap and no one else is picking it, so I'll pick the longer one. But again, like if you knew from the beginning it was going to take that long, it'd be a completely different process, I think.
Yeah,
because that was obvious, and this is not a fault of District. This happens with every brand in the world because delays in China are out of your hands. But like at first it's like, oh yeah, they're going to be coming out this autumn, and it comes to autumn 2016. You're like, oh, so where's the deck? Oh, it's coming out in spring. It doesn't come out in spring. You're like, all right, sick. When's it come out? Oh, summer. And it just takes till next Christmas.
Yeah.
But the whole I mean, I think it's an interesting process anyway, because it's really not like I first thought it was. And especially now that like I'm kind of on the other side of that, it's interesting as well. Now I'm dealing with riders, because riders especially are like, oh, can I have mine 6.2 wide or something? Yeah. And you're like, well, no, we can't really make a one-off deck size for you, width at least, because the extrusion is the expensive bit. Yeah. As you'll know, like if for those that don't, to even make an extrusion, which is the width of the deck, you can make 10 different lengths. That's fine. But the extrusion and the width is the expensive bit. It's like, I don't
setting
know,
up the molds and stuff.
It's 5 figures just to make a mold. Yeah. And then you've got to make a minimum length of that mold. So it's not like you can make a 6.5 wide extrusion and then, you can cut it into loads of lengths, but you've got to make at least, I don't know, 1,000 of them. Yeah. Definitely. And then even then it's expensive, because now each deck has from production cost is increased because you've had to buy the mold just for that deck. Yeah. So unless you're going to make 1,000 or something of someone's decks, which again is another misconception, I think, is how many SIG decks actually get made for most brands. Because again, I first thought, oh, they make thousands, and they don't.
No, they really don't. Not only that, but same with you as well. Dean was catering for the whole team, not just me.
Yeah. So again, it makes sense that it does 5.2 and 5.5, because that's the same for everyone. Yeah. They pick one of those two sizes. They've got those two molds ready. It's fine. Makes sense. You just cut them into different lengths. But when one guy's like, oh yeah, I want a 6.2, and you're like, well, we're only going to make 100 of them. So even if we could make an order that small, it would still cost, let's say it's $15,000 for a mold in China or something. For 100 decks, that's going to cost $150 per deck. Just for the mold, not the production cost. So it's going to come out at like $800 or something. So, when you're dealing in low volumes of this guy wanting a one-off deck, you realise now you're on this side of the thing that's not actually possible. Yeah, definitely. At first you're like, oh, just make another deck, it's easy. But
it's no, really not.
Because we're not making 800 of your decks. We're planning to make 100, 400, whatever.
And that's why the actual rider and even the graphic and stuff like that does play a huge part as well. Yeah. Because like I said, we all got sent samples. We've all rode the 5.2s, the 5.5s. Yeah. I tried riding the 23 and stuff like that. And it was about finding the one you're comfortable with and then just having your own little twist on it. So yeah.
I think the sheer expense of making scooter parts is something that people don't really notice. They've got no reason to know it, right? But it's something that people don't know in the first place.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like so if you have to make something, it's fine to make SIG decks when it's across a whole team, and you say, for example, the District way was, how wide do you want them? We said 5, and they said, all right, cool, we'll make all our decks now 5 wide, because of the riders said that. So we still chose this width of our SIG decks. Yeah. But they had to come as part of a range, plus the original colours, like the plain black, plain grey, whatever, just to make it cost effective. Yeah. If we made them just the SIG decks, even across the whole team, they would have cost a few $100 more each. Yeah, which is not going to happen, right? It's interesting. It's one of the things I like about the job that I'm in, because I get to see the other side now, and I get to kind of look back at my 21-year-old self and go, what a fucking idiot. Why didn't I consider that at the time? Because the manager told me that like 8 times and I didn't believe him. I was like, no, just make it, or whatever, right? It's cool to see the other side.
For sure.
And so, do you think you deserve one?
Damn, just fire the question at me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to put it out there, right? With scooters in general, like obviously when I started, I didn't know what was out there, where it was going to take me and stuff like that. But after riding for brands and stuff like that, the only thing I actually ever did want from scooters was a signature product. Like I said, for it to be a deck, I was fucking buzzing about, because that is probably the best, it is the best signature thing to get in my opinion. And it was something I was never like I've never wanted to ride for money. I've never wanted to see it as a job in that sense. But to have a signature part, like obviously we grew up watching skateboarding and stuff like that and BMX where they get their own frames and decks. Yeah, I low key was obviously putting in a graft for like trying to earn that because I knew that it was possible, especially after Boris got the bar and the fork, and obviously Dean had mentioned how he would really love to do something like that. But yeah, I don't know if I deserve it or not, but I just feel like for me, I've almost completed Scooters in that sense because that was the one thing I wanted in return, and I got it. And I think, to be honest, like riding for Flavour for over 5 years, that in itself is already like a big commitment.
Shift. And like for the brand,
yeah, and I get it now because I've gotten old and stuff. But like I said, Dean is literally like an uncle to me. Like he's like, we FaceTime quite often. I'm always in the loop. I help with just content in general, and I try help with like production and development. So like same as Boris, like he's like heavily involved as well.
Just to clarify, so everyone knows, Dean is the Flavour owner.
He is, in Brisbane. Yeah, what a guy. And yeah, I just, like I said, I was fucking over the moon to get it, and for being on the team for that long and obviously helping behind the scenes, then maybe like Dean said, he's always wanted to provide me with a signature part. And it all came at a good time. It's received really well. Like everyone's loving it on social media. Mm-hmm. It's still surreal to go to a skate park and see someone riding it. And not only that, obviously I got it tattooed onto my skin, so it's there for life.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole process it just made me feel like a kid again. I was just buzzing about the whole thing. And it's one of them, you probably had it over that duration of time, because it is a big thing. You're trying to keep it quiet as well as not being fucking dead gassed. And obviously
we had to make the signature documentary.
Yeah.
With the early samples we got.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, you came to my house in maybe like August 2017 when you came to watch the COV game.
Yep.
And I showed you the unboxing video.
Yeah.
The unboxing segment of that thing where you run and boot the thing. But shit like that, I was with Graham and we were making this like promo thing.
Yeah.
And we knew we'd made gold. It was so much fun to make.
Did you have them all planned before? Was you like storyboarding, or did you end up just being like, oh, this could be fucking sick? Because I know what Graham's like. You could just drink tea and then come up with a genius idea and fucking.
Basically, I hadn't seen Graham by that point for a while because he went to uni and everything and became a genius and changed the world, etc.
Absolute wizard.
So when I was getting a SIG deck. And the other thing that was an issue with my SIG deck as a side thing.
Got the SIG deck.
Yeah, that thing. We knew I was going to do stupid shit. But one of the things that bothered me a bit about the SIG deck process, and again, it's not anyone's fault, but after I got offered the SIG deck is when I just started declining in terms of mobility. I wasn't riding less. I was just fucked.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't sesh more than like 20 minutes and then be able to walk the next day. It just became such a thing that I was just it was hurting more and more, and I knew I kind of had to step back a little bit. And also the start of 2017 when I became manager, because your full job now is to do with scooters. Sometimes the last thing you want to do after all that is go and ride
scooter. I feel that so much.
Because you spent the whole day saying no to sponsor requests or sorting out the political side of it, or arguing with people that don't give a shit, but whatever, like a lot of stress that was new to me in scooters, because really I was now on the other side of the fence. And sometimes you're so glad just to turn your computer off and just watch a film.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go to a park then, and then almost have loads of scooter kids ask you questions.
You're already in the wrong mindset to just do that, so I get that.
Yeah, because if you do that from this side of the fence and you kind of exhaust yourself a bit and you go to the skate park and then like kids ask you questions, can you do a backflip or whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah. They're cool, they're fine one at a time. As a rider, you accept that's a thing, but like it was almost. I also feel like I didn't really need to ride a scooter at that point. I felt like I didn't have to push myself and keep hurting myself and make everything worse.
So it almost came at a perfect time anyway.
It came in such a perfect time. It was like,
thank you for your huge input. Yeah. You've done great. Here's a SIG deck, and now you.
I mean the manager thing. So then at the start of the year, I obviously rode a few more months. I went to, to be honest, I think everyone still thinks I ride all the time, but my last actual session was, I'd say it's Montreux 2017, which is April 2017. And the last clip of
views on my camera roll, which is at Rampworks, when you tried to manual the mani pad.
Oh, bloody hell, not that.
Just fucking poo shooted straight to your back.
Yeah, but that wasn't even like a session though. That was just...
I was like, have a go on my scooter, please. And then...
Yeah, but anyway, I kind of felt in a position where I was quite happy to leave it a bit, because the thing I enjoyed about riding, I don't know about you, but I always hated riding on my own.
Yeah,
I maybe tried it 2 or 3 times in my entire life. I did not ride a scooter to be on my own.
Do you ever get out of breath rapid when you're on your own as well? Do you ever have that? Like I sometimes, right, if I'm fiending a sesh, I would literally just ride up to Fevs and I'll do like 2 runs and I got like tight chest and I feel like asthmatic and I'm bare tired. It's probably because
age.
Yeah, probably me. Or just bad health. But yeah, you know, it's because you ain't got anyone to go in between. But it's one of them ones where I'm just like sweaty, I feel gross. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Could just go back yard
Horrible,
and drink tea.
Exactly. So my thing about scootering, the thing I enjoyed all the time about riding was the fact that I was with people and in certain places and doing fun things and whatever. So when I became manager and I was still going to events, still filming things with people, still with Rich, still going to Barcelona, I still got all the perks of riding, but not because I'm riding at that event. I'm there to film and take photos or manage someone, whatever. So it almost became a good time where I was slowing down riding anyway by that point, by 2017. So then, to get back to the point, when it came to releasing my deck, not only had I lost footage because of a stolen hard drive early in the year, but I was almost not past it to a point where like I couldn't refilm, but I think I was pretty mad at the footage getting lost, to be honest. I'd start filming for it. But secondly, I was like, the thing is, everybody who gets a SIG deck makes a riding video. And so they should, right? Because that's what you do. You're a scooter rider.
Yeah.
But the timing for me was not ideal. But I knew we could make the most of it if we employed the help of Graham and Joe Anderson, the actor in all of our union promos.
Actor he is.
And I knew that was also like, I don't think people realised by that point that I wasn't riding that much anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like a decoy almost. Not on purpose. I even if I was riding all the time, I would still have made that exact documentary. But again, I speak to Graham, I got a SIG deck, we need to make a promo for it. And he's like, yes, come over.
Instead of just one,
just sit there,
being like 5 sketches. How many?
Yeah, maybe like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
We did the man got a SIG deck thing first and the unboxing thing.
Yeah.
And then we were like, you know what, we could make this into like a documentary.
Yeah.
Let's get Joe round. And it pretty much happened exactly as it is in the film. Mm-hmm. It's like we get Joe round.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even scripted. We were sat there and like he was like, yeah, let's make a VR thing. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, obviously, we know we're filming it, but like I was still surprised by that suggestion. And he pulls out this fucking VR headset that I don't even know Graham owned.
What did you use for the green screen again? Didn't you hang up like a towel or something?
No, it was just like a big green sheet. I think maybe Martin used it.
Oh, okay,
like
fair enough. Yeah.
And we wanted to make something. And for me, again, we've said a few times now, I would never have got to the point of having a SIG deck if it wasn't for people like Graham.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it would have been absolutely fucking criminal if he wasn't involved in the promotion process.
Yeah, definitely.
He had to be involved in it. And of course, he nailed the editing because he was always the guy on the computer for us, same with Union.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. But like, for me, that was really... So, point being, by the time it came out, I wasn't really riding, and that's what bothered me a bit, is that because it took so long to come out, and also I was braking at this point, and falling out of riding a little bit, I was kind of gutted that when it came out, I couldn't just go in sesh and make a sick video. If I made a video, it would have been a fucking X up air, and someone would have gone, shit, why has he got a sick deck?
Yeah, true. You've had to deal with all that bullshit.
Yeah.
How did District actually take to the video? Because obviously it wasn't like a 4-minute, 5-minute part of just killing yourself. It was you booting boxes. And
So by this point, I'd been told off a lot for swearing in videos in general, in like winging it videos and stuff. Because, and again, as a rider, I was like, no, it's sick, it makes your brand look more mature. In hindsight, I'm like, why was I a fucking idiot?
Yeah.
Like, I should have just, at least for District's channel, just been not as much of a knobhead.
Mm-hmm.
But again, as a rider, I thought I knew everything.
You live and you learn, mate.
Yeah. So I knew that like even swearing was like a no-go. But the thing is, this documentary was coming out no matter what happened.
Yeah.
And we were at Corby with Luke Maker. You know Luke, he's a sales guy at Greenover and therefore at District. And we were there filming a thing with Kota regarding the Kota District collab thing.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was like, and it was with Graham. Graham was filming it, and it was me and Kota talking about what happened with that, and Luke was there with Kota. And I was like, so, Luke, I've got a video to show you. I'm not sure if you're going to like it, but I'm going to bring it out.
Because no one was expecting it, bro.
No,
like, it was such a different...
It was just ridiculous, wasn't it? But anyway, it's good fun. And you know what? And I was dead apprehensive. I was like, They're going to tell me I can't bring it out because it's not appropriate or whatever. And they fucking loved it. And I was so glad.
Yeah, I was
like, thank fuck for that.
Was
so
it?
anyway, so that's... I don't even know what the original point was.
We're good at doing
How
this.
are we this bad at staying on topic?
Fucking hell.
Anyway, so yeah, because the process was longer than I expected as a kid, I say as a kid, I must have been...
About 36, weren't you?
Yeah, it was about 95, I think.
Something like that.
No, I would have been 22. So I wasn't a kid at all.
Nope.
Still a few generations ago now.
Yeah.
It feels like. But yeah,
hell said.
there's a lot of things like that I didn't expect at the time. And if I knew at the time that was going to happen, I would have... I don't know, I guess I would have just filmed the video straight away with the first sample.
Yeah.
But the first sample you were testing out, not filming yet. You do film some clips. Hard drive gets stolen in Barcelona. Seen a bit of footage.
Yeah.
My footage, Helen Marie's first documentary attempt in 2017.
Nightmare,
Everything.
that
Fucking
is
bollocks.
Fuck thieves.
Yep. So, to answer the question I gave you a minute ago about do you deserve it? I don't really think I deserved one. I understood it, and this is another thing with the length of time it took to come out. In 2016, I'd be like, yeah, I'm active, I'm doing everything. But by the time it came out, I was still grateful for it, obviously, and I was buzzing that it happened, and I was like, yeah, sure, 2016, perfect. But like, I wasn't in a position to ride it as much as I knew I should have been doing by the time it came out. So I always felt a bit bad. And even now, they're still recreating the C50 Completes that now have signature graphics on them, and the SIG decks have come out again in a new size.
Sick.
So I'm stoked to have it. And now in hindsight, because we've got one for Fernando Young as well. He's got a SIG deck this year.
Sick.
He's probably not seshed for, I don't know. I know he rides now and again, but like properly, competitively, or filming or whatever, it must be like 10 years.
It's a little like
However,
gesture though, almost, for someone like that.
Yeah, so for Fernando, who's by the way designed all the district parts
plays
for
a
years
huge
now,
part, doesn't he?
and no one knows his name because he's from a long time ago. He was the guy, along with Hep Greg, I believe, that were directly responsible for making Eagle get involved with scooters, because they were the guys that found the first metalcore roller ski wheels.
Yeah.
Got in touch with Eagle, I believe, and said, yo, there's a huge market for these. And so Eagle started making dedicated wheels, and therefore when Eagle started making wheels, and then they said, oh, we should make some scooter parts like decks. That's where District came from.
That's mad, that is. How far
And
back do you reckon that
etc.
is? What year are we talking?
07.
Okay, yeah. I thought it'd
Must
be
have
around
been
that
07
time.
or something.
Yeah, that's
a
mad.
long time ago. No, hold on. Yeah, I think the wheels, I had Eagle wheels before they were scooter wheels in 2007.
Okay.
2006, 2007. They were roller ski wheels back then. District must have been 07, 08 when they made clamps and stuff. First deck would have been 2009, I think.
Yeah.
But essentially, yeah, like Fernando was therefore responsible in a way for building District anyway.
Mad. Yeah.
So he's not really got a deck now as a rider, but it's like a legacy piece.
Yeah.
So you know what? This guy designed all of our parts. Why has he not got his name on one?
Yeah. And you can hang it up on the wall.
He's someone I'd love to interview for this.
What's that?
He's someone that I'd love to interview for this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fernando.
That'd be dope.
Anyway, so now with the decks coming back out again, like I don't really count mine as one I've got as a rider that's still being produced. I'm like, you know what? I do a fair bit behind the scenes and stuff with District, so I just accept it as though it's a bit like that, like a gesture for the worker behind the scenes rather than as a rider.
Yeah.
But it would have been sick if I just made one last riding video with that deck. It just came a little bit too late because of China, because of loads of other things.
Yeah, no,
Not District's fault, it's just life and scooters and production.
Yeah. Gives you lemons sometimes, kid.
Gives me lemons.
Life gives you lemons. Have you not heard that?
You
You're
make
not that
lemonade.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's like half a phrase. What does give you lemons even mean?
Life dishes out lemons, doesn't it?
That's not the phrase. The phrase
Well, it
is...
fucking dishes out lemons.
Anyway, we're drawing a line under that. We're not having an argument live on air.
When life gives you lemons.
Make lemonade.
Yeah.
So, again, we've gone off topic. Do you think signature decks should be something that you have to wait for?
Yeah.
As a scooter rider,
of course. 100%.
There's a lot of brands. No, there's a handful of brands that will get a new pro rider and give them a part straight away.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
No.
Let's
not particularly.
Let's say, literally just for argument's sake, not name dropping, let's say Supremacy picks up Juzzy tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, option one is give him a SIG deck straight away and like power through the idea that we've got Juzzy on board. Let's put our brand. Let's ride his name and to promote our brand kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we'll give him a deck straight away to like bang, he's on the team, SIG deck, everything. Because in that case, you're giving him a SIG deck because of who he is, and he's done his shift in scootering, right? He's made his mark.
Mm-hmm.
Or option 2 is, no, you've got to ride for the brand. You've got to become part of the brand, not just a name alongside it. People have got to think of you as soon as they think of supremacy, and vice versa.
Yeah, but that's
and that takes years.
Yep.
And then you wait 3 years, give him a SIG deck.
Yeah, but
what would you do?
Almost answered it yourself, because I feel like the first option is, because he's a huge name, he's going to generate revenue. So let's just plaster his graphic on a deck. Whereas like I feel it's important to have a bit more of a family vibe. You've got to, like you said, you got to do your shift, not just in scooters generally, but for that brand. It's the same as when people just like sponsor sluts, just jump between brands and then demand shit. And it's like, they probably never even put money into that brand beforehand. Like we've had this conversation before, and like you would want to build the relationship with the rider individually. You would want to see how he rides for the brand, how he develops and how people take. And then, when you feel like it's going in the right direction, then you offer it down the line. And like you said, because it is going to be a prolonged process, it probably will be 12 to 18 months, sometimes longer.
Yeah.
By that point anyway, everything's a bit more solid and like, okay, he deserves it. He's doing bits. He enjoys riding for us. We're not going to make this deck and then he's going to fuck off like 1 month later and then go through that same process with another brand. And I think that's important with team morale as a whole, because for me with Flavour, it does feel like a family. Like I've been the only UK rider for them for about 4 years now, and then every time like we can just go to France, I can see Boozid and Boris, and they're like brothers, and it's the set. Do you know what I mean? It's got a really good vibe to it. So we've all earned it. We've all put in a shift, like you said, and
because so basically you have to earn it, but not. That's not the. You can't be demanding that the whole time, kind of thing, right? No. Yeah, I think you can tell as well. A rider brings out a SIG deck. You can tell straight away whether that's just another deck that's come out, or if it's something that someone's kind of worked for without really working for that in particular. But you can see this person's done a shift for the brand. Mm-hmm. Or a month after being on the brand, they announce they're getting a SIG deck, or a year later. Or
and then you know for a while they're playing the number game again. Yeah. Oh, this guy's got 200,000 followers. Let's just give him a SIG deck because he's going to make us X amount. I think that's pretty daft.
And when smaller companies, or upcoming companies I should say, get a bigger name rider for loads of money, here's $2,000 a month, we'll make you a SIG deck straight away, blah, blah, blah. They're doing that to make their brand bigger, not to reward the rider for their contribution to the brand, right? Mm-hmm. So to answer the question, do you think it should always be kept prestigious, like a big thing to have for the brand, regardless of the rider? Yeah. Do you think whoever you've got on your team, you've added Ryan Williams and Rich, Chris Farris and Dylan to your team, right? This brand new up and coming brand out of China, and should they still have to wait for it? Because I mean, come on, it's
got to be prestigious though. It's always got to be like that.
But my point is, you'd know that it's a money thing.
Yeah.
If that happened, for the rider.
But you could like I said, if you get big names that have, or even already have SIG decks with other brands, like, and down the line they're probably going to work towards that and expect it. Maybe not everyone, but like, the point is, you're representing that brand. You're not there to just rinse them. You're not there to soak up all their stuff. They want to help you and you help them. So you do your bit, they do their bit, and whilst that's happening, that's going to happen over time anyway. It doesn't just happen rapid, and if it does, then I just think they're doing it for the P. But like, when in skateboarding, when they announce someone's pro and they get a deck, it's the biggest fucking deal in the world. It's huge, mate. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Not to compare the two because they're a bit different sports, but I'm never going to forget the fact that I got a SIG deck. I didn't sign for District thinking, I'll sign if you promise me a SIG deck. It just happened at some point and I was fucking it like you were, kid at Christmas.
Honestly, when you actually receive the physical product, like, I was fucking like almost emotional, geese. Like, I did want to have a fucking fat party and just get like twisted, but I got it in Barcelona, so like, it hadn't publicly been announced at this point. So I was like, holy shit, like, here it fucking is. Like, it's been in my arm anyway for about like 6 months prior, but like, this is what I've been working for. And then like, I'm not even lying, because I was like a kid at Christmas. I didn't even want to wally up a curb because the graphic was obviously mint, and I was like, shit. And then obviously people then were like, holy shit. So that's what the prototypes were, sort of thing. And then when it finally came out, like I literally remember that just sat with my headphones in, just like writing the caption. And I was like, low key, like, oh my God, this is it. Like, what the fuck? And then when I posted it, it received dead well. Fucking buzzing just about life. And I think Dean was probably equally as gassed as all of us were. Do you know what I mean?
I bet he was glad to finally be able to reward it.
That's what I'm saying. He helped us out massively.
Because Flavour's not a brand that, as far as I would assume, they don't deal in huge volume. They don't make 10 billion completes and stuff. They're quite their team's a core group of riders. They've got a small team, but it's sick, and everyone kind of lives and breathes it who's on the team.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
so if I were Dean in that situation, I would just be so buzzing to finally be like, guys, here you go.
Yeah.
I'm buzzing for this. But again, you can't rush that process.
No. And you got to get it right.
So without mentioning specific numbers, what's the deal with Flavour and Sigdex? Do you get royalties? Do you get a one-off payment?
So it's royalties, yeah. So
per deck.
Per deck, yeah. So they make X amount, and then per deck you get the royalties. And then
do you get that straight away, or when they sell in the shop?
With this one, to be fair, Dean was really quick with it, because he knew that he really wanted to provide us with the decks, because it had been prolonged a little bit. And then I guess moving forward, it could be maybe once a year, twice a year, winter order, summer order, depending. But and then because he's just an absolute G, went out his way to give us like a filmer budget for us. I think
that's sick,
which is so dope, because he understands that, like, if he knows that I want to make a video part, and like a riding video, not a documentary, as much as that would be sick, but like for me now it's a bit more difficult, and like, he knows that I want to do a proper job, so that means like people like Russell Pinks, Bradley Morrissey, like them guys. Bradley, I'd love to fly over here and just get him behind the car, because you got to trust someone in something like this. You don't just want to half-ass it. And so
I think a lot of people do half-ass it.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I understand for people like you.
Yeah,
this is a big deal.
Though, like,
let's say, obviously, I'm not gonna say how many decks have been made for Flavour, but let's say there's not many, right?
Yeah.
It don't really matter. You're not going to earn loads of money from royalties, but you want to do it properly.
And again, I never wanted money from it. Like, that's why he's just an absolute G for providing that. But because I know, like you said before, everyone wants to make that video part they could look back on. The Terry Price mini vid, the Dream Team. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone wants that, and I've always wanted that. But we've always been the people where we would go to a spot somewhere in a city. I would give Binks or Turks my camera. They would film it. And then you go and edit your own stuff. By the time you released it, you hate the fucking song, you're bored of the video, and like, you're just like, oh, whatever. And this one is like, because I've got the filmer budget and I've got a bit more freedom with what approach I'm going to take to it. I do want Russell to get establishing shots on a drone. I want Bradley to have his twist on it, because he's a fucking genius. And now that Dean's provided that, I can actually be like, yo, I appreciate the time and effort. I know how time consuming it is, and actually pay them as well. So like, yeah, I'm buzzing about it. It's just, we need to come 2020, I think I'm going to go like full send with it. We're not obviously when get nicer weather and we can plan flights and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I'm hyped.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to be a fat video. Although it is now winter, so nightmare, but England bollocks to it. It can wait a bit. Yeah, so who designed yours? It was JPOG, wasn't it?
Yeah, man like JPOG. He helped design the Elite Supreme collab wheel years ago. He also helped design my first tattoo.
What came first, tattoo or the Sig deck?
The tattoo did.
Yeah.
Only through.
And he designed the tattoo.
Yeah, only through a because it was a cancellation, so I was like pulled forward, and like because we didn't actually know when the decks were coming out, I was like, well.
Also, the tattoo was made because the Sig deck was coming.
Yeah.
Ah, I didn't even know that. I thought that let's say the tattoo came first. I thought the Sig deck graphic was because you had that tattoo, so it's personal to you. I didn't think the tattoo was waiting for this, like in honor of the Sig deck kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's
it's
sick.
One of them ones where, because JPOG was always in on the loop, but again, like, he knows how to keep his voice quiet. He didn't tell anyone, but we had been working on this for ages. I'd always pinged off ideas, and he is the guy where like I could go around this evening, drink bare tea, like you and Graham, just like get into some weird editing, or he starts illustrating, I start doing Photoshop shit, and then you just end up like clashing heads, and you're like, holy shit, like this looks dope. And we've done it so many times, so I always knew he would be the one designing it. And
it's another part of the personal aspects of the Sig deck as well, is that it's someone you actually know that's done it.
That's what I mean, yeah.
like the thing I like about the District Sig Deck range is that each person that had one has got such a different style of graphic because it was different people that did it.
Yep.
For me, it was a guy from GY that I knew. For Rich, it was his best mate Daniel Bodis, who drew a thing of Prague. For Cam, it was drawn by Michael Gumaz, he's also got part of that's on his tattoo. So everyone's like really has their personal thing on it as well.
Yeah.
And it really bothers me because of how highly I regard signature decks, for myself at least.
Yep.
When people just do some shit boring design for a Sig deck.
Yeah.
And they just go, oh well, here's a like I understand like a basic design that thought's gone into, but when it's like, oh, here's like just some colours on a deck.
I know
it's like, no, like put something about you on it.
It's like a little preset from some random illustration website.
Yeah.
Like, that could look pretty cool. Just put my name on the side.
Yeah.
Just relying on your name.
There's got to be a personal touch to it, hasn't there? Within reason. Like we said, you can't go, oh, I want 7.51 because it's not going to happen. But you can add personal touches in a different way and contribute to the actual production of the parts in the first place and everything. But yeah, I guess with JPOG doing it, a bit like Graham's involvement in my promotion and the guy from GY doing my graphic.
It made sense and I didn't want anyone else. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
So, and then Marek, my tattoo artist, absolutely smashed it because, funnily enough, because it was a cancellation I was pulled forward, I didn't expect to have it the exact same. So when I went in with the template, I had it from the illustration document as 22 by 5.5. So when he was like scaling it down, it was like super rectangular. And then I just said, obviously, if you can stick to that design, and then towards where my watch sits, that's where he's like pushed out with the ink and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, done a sick job. Got my initials in runic. Obviously, got a wolf, and I'm just buzzing about it. To be honest, it's one of them ones that, like, I still have the deck that sits on my wall. Like, eventually when I move out, I'm probably gonna have it somewhere on the shelf. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a huge part of scootering for me, and I feel like now I've done that, I'm buzzing. I want to get this video part finessed. I want to look back on it when I'm your age, a lot older, and just sit there all smug and chuffed. So big up Dean and Flavour.
The reason I never bother with tattoos is because I know that I would never stop with it, and because there's so much shit I would have like in remembrance kind of thing. Like I'd still have Ray's logo tattooed now.
What about the teardrop one that tricked everyone?
No, I wouldn't have that.
No, but you know when you done it.
Yeah. And that was sick.
Believed it.
Yeah, but literally, like, I'd still have a Razer logo. I'd have my Sig Deck graphic fucking everywhere, just down my face.
Never.
No, but
you would look haggard.
It'd be sick. But yeah, I couldn't start because there's so much stuff that like just flags of every country that I've been to because of Scootering and shit like that. I'd be fucked.
Imagine the state of you fucking 10 years time if you was into tattoos.
Imagine the state of me now without tattoos.
Yeah, to be fair, saggy ball. Fucking hell. Yeah.
But no, it's mad to get Sig parts. If you could pick one of the Sig part to have, what would it be?
It's an interesting one. I think it would be between a fork or wheels.
What colour would you do?
What colour?
Don't say black on black wheels.
I'm boring.
So what's the point?
Fuck. So
what's the point? There's so many black and black wheels in the world.
No. All right, you just fucking took words. It would probably be very chromatic vibe though, black and silver. No, it'd be the thing is though, it depends what wheel, because like, you know, if you had like a Holotech sort of vibe where you could actually design on it, then I'd go to town with it. But if you had like but you wouldn't
ride Holotechs though.
Huh?
You wouldn't ride Holotechs.
No, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be my Sig wheel. That's what I mean though. So it'd be like a spoked wheel. I'd get a spoked wheel probably, and
with some urethane graphic that get rubbed off after 2 seconds anyway.
That's what I mean. So it wouldn't matter that much.
Which is why I think the colours of wheels are sick. Like is important because you can see some kid with a green and red pair of wheels in the distance. Go, yeah, they're mine.
They're fucking.
And everyone knows. Wheels. Everyone knows that colour is that person's Sig wheel. They don't have to zoom in and have a look at only the brand new wheel because the graphic's gone after 2 sessions.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know what I mean?
I think I'd probably go fork then wheels, but only because wheels are like they're the thing that I'd go through the most, obviously. So it'd be sick, wouldn't it?
Deck's definitely the sickest one, though, isn't it?
But hands down, everyone can agree with that.
Have you ever seen anybody just at a random park that you don't know with your deck, or anybody on Instagram or anything?
Yeah, because obviously
Max had it.
Huh?
Max Peters had it.
Yeah, and I was buzzing about that.
I was with him in Australia
when I was way to do a review, and he was full of praises and kind words, and that was sick to see because
it's magic in it. It's so maybe because of our age and because we never thought it was going to be a thing, but just like I remember the first time I ever saw someone with my Sig deck was in Norway.
Oh, fuck.
I was judging a contest there at the X Games Park, and watching this guy just ride on my deck like it's nothing, and I'm like, that's fucking mad.
Yeah, that's so sick, man.
And also, the good thing about the graphic for me is like, because I've put so much stuff that's personal to me on it, I'm there like just dead smug, chuckling to myself because someone's got a town shirt in Norway, or like someone in America's flying an England flag, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Or like,
actually, yeah, to be fair, that's sick with yours.
I
But
quite like that. I remember when the Vault, Sean Cardwell, like he unboxed it and talked about it and stuff, and he pointed at the graphic. He's like, what flag's this? I thought he was British. Because they don't know the England specific flag for some reason, because they're American. Yeah. And he was like, I think it's probably Sweden. I was like, no.
Fluffed it.
But in general, I like having those personal things because,
I think it's because we went into scooters expecting fucking nothing because we were so unaware. And then we've came out with a physical product that is worldwide. And like you said, you get tagged from random kid on Instagram, buzzing to ride your part. They're advertising your part. They're like the stuff that's on my skin. And all around it's the best thing, isn't it, really?
It's mad. And you're right, I think you said it earlier on, you nailed it pretty much. You pretty much completed it now.
Yeah, literally, I get this.
All you need now is video and you're done.
Yeah,
completed scooters.
Pretty much, mate. And then
fucking
settle down, wife and kid.
We are
never, bruv.
You have to go to like an Arabic country and have like 7 wives. You can handle just one. You little fucking fiend.
Here we go. These videos are making me look terrible. I'm a caring person, said
you are terrible. You bring it up.
I'm sensitive. No, last time we were getting waved, right? It was J-Pog that was
can't help himself. Anyway, to put a line under it, we're 2 lucky bastards. The signature deck process is an interesting one.
We've winged
it's
it once more. It's
definitely a lot longer and smaller quantities, but expensive process than I think a lot of people realise. And I'm grateful to have seen both sides of that.
Yeah, also makes it more rewarding because you just wait and then it comes out and you're fucking hyped.
Yeah, I think it's been a pretty good run on it.
Big time.
We've done all right.
Big time. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Dean is, because it's received so well and he's buzzing about it, there could potentially be more SIG parts.
Look at that for some news.
I'm getting good at this, aren't I?
Fucking hell, that was planned all along, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just had to check my notes, like, I forgot to sit in that. But yeah, could be some
It's going to be sick. So next up, waiting for Danny's Pro Model SIG deck video to drop, filmed by everyone, and he's going to...
Even you filmed some clips already.
He's going to eat shit, and it's going to take forever to make it, but it's going to be sick.
He's not wrong.
And on that note, dipping.
Sound. Cheers,
boys. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.